So this is an actual drag slick. It's not a supermoto tire. And you can see the little hole there for tread depth. So it's a real drag slick. But the thing is, it comes as an 18-inch. And the rim on the bike is 19-inch. And plus, even if I had an 18-inch rim of the regular width, it would be a little bit narrow. So I'm assembling this wheel. And I got a bunch of spokes here left to put into it. So right now it's all wobbly and loose. So this is a new rim. It's an 18-inch. It'll be a much better match for the tire because it's also wider than a standard rim. And I picked up this hub assembly. It's from an early 2000 CR500. Got that on eBay. And then I got a new spoke package here for this whole project. And so once I get going, it's pretty easy to see where the next spoke goes. You can see this hole here heads off down and in that direction. So, you know, my only choices are, you know, that one or that one, and this is the better lineup. And obviously it's for a spoke that comes to this side. And this one here, obviously it has to head at an angle that way and down. So it's going to be really handy later in the project if everything assembles nicely. So before I got into the project too far, I checked all the spokes, that everything assembled nice. And some of them had a bit of a problem, like as if there was some burrs and stuff on the thread. So for those, I just clamped them in some 2x4s here. And then I used a tool to turn them back and forth and then blow out any debris if there was any and keep working it back and forth till they were really nice and free. And also, before I got into the project, is I separated the spokes based on length. And I found that there was 2 different lengths for this project. And after that, then I also studied the ends, that if there was any differences in the ends. And these are all the same. So these are all the same length now. And I look at the ends and they're all the same. So this is a pretty basic, easy package to assemble. So not all wheels assemble the same. This is an 81 YZ465. So check this out. So way down in here, you can see the inner spoke, this one here, heading off in that direction. The outer spoke, it crosses that one, and then it heads out here, it crosses another inner spoke, and heads out here, and it crosses yet another inner spoke. So there's a lot more angle here on this wheel than the spokes that are on this wheel. Because if I look at this one, so this is from an 03 CR250, and if you look up in there, you can see the inner spoke comes out here and the outer spoke, it crosses here, and that's it. It only crossed one time. So there's a lot less angle on the spokes on this wheel than on that one. So and then here on the Pitster Pro, these spokes, they overlap 2 times. Once right out of the hub and then one more time right here. So what I did here is I put the inner spokes on first, so that it is easier to put the outer spokes on. If I would do it the other way around, I would have a lot of trouble assembling it. And by inner spokes, you can see here, you can see that one is farther down than the one right beside it. So this one overlaps on top, like I was showing you before on the other rims. So I put all of these in first, and then I can put the outer ones on, and then they just overlap on top, and then slip into their proper hole. Okay, so this is an outer spoke. I'm going to install it here for you guys. So that means this one ends up over top of the inner. So I'm just assembling now. I'm not worried about lineup at all right now. I'm just getting the spokes in. So with all the spokes installed, it's time to start truing this thing up and taking the slack out of the spokes. And I'm just going to show you what a loose spoke looks like here. You can see all the thread exposed, or a lot of the thread. So that thread there is actually to my advantage. I'm going to use that as a tuning tool. What I've done now is I've selected 8 spokes. There's 2 there, and right across the same thing, and 2 there and 2 there. So I'm only working with 8 spokes to get the initial true into this wheel. And all of those 8 spokes are all outer spokes. And this one here, it heads to the top, and the one right beside it heads to the bottom. So each quarter is set up the same way, using only the outer spokes, and all of those spokes are also the same length. So what I do is I took the slack out of those spokes, and what I did is let's say if this was one of them, I would just tighten it up till the thread was just barely gone, and then I would do all 8 spokes the same, just to tighten them up till the thread was gone. And from there I would use an Allen wrench here on the back side, because there's actually a hex in there, and then I would just count the turns, just working with those 8 spokes. Initially I gave it like 2 turns, you know, 1, 2, same thing there, and then the same thing there and same thing there, and then I needed to do some more, and so I'd give it another turn. See, right now I'd be counting turns because the thread has already disappeared, right? So I count the turns. Okay, so I've taken this wheel right off the table, put it on the bike, and I've done no other adjusting on it. But check this out, 24 out of 32 spokes on this wheel are completely loose, but yet already the rim, it feels like it's got some rigidity in it. Just a little rattly. So if I take a jack stand and I put it very close to the side of the rim like this and spin the rim, that will show me how far the rim is out side to side. And if I take the same jack stand and I move it behind the rim and spin the rim again, that will show me how far the rim is out up and down. This is my spoke wrench, and it's kind of nifty. It's got this removable end on it, and I can replace it with a bunch of different sizes that I have here. And it's also kind of wide on the end, so it doesn't, you know, have a tendency of buggering things up. But right out of the gate, this rim is off by about 1/16 of an inch total, side to side. Up and down looks really good. So just using my 8, I'm going to true it in a little nicer. But I'm not putting a lot of tension on my 8 because the other spokes are not doing anything, so I could actually distort the rim if I just play with these a little bit too much, you know. And then after that, then I'm slowly going to bring in the rest of the spokes very lightly at first, and keeping track of where I'm at here until I have proper tension in the spokes.